Well, he's not involved anyway, and I think the manager's acted in completely the right way. The team values are much more important. It's a top sport. Top values are being looked for. There's a young, impressionable players. We've already heard Luke Shaw say that there wasn't really enough jeopardy with previous managers. So it's in his gift to act in that way, and I think that's right and proper. And I do hope that Ronaldo can come back to the fold. And I do like the way he sort of packaged it. That is a miss for them, because they would have liked to have used him in some way.
That's quite clever, isn't it? Because he's saying that actually, we could have dealt with him. We could have used him at the weekend, but he's actually taken himself out of the team.
Well, I think he genuinely believes that. He genuinely still believes in the player. It's just that the player is not that comfortable, and this is a tactical decision. We both watched the game. You were there. I watched it at home, and it felt for me that at 2-0, then Spurs were rallying a little bit. Some substitutes were made, and he wanted that youthful energy still on the pitch. It wasn't a case of, it could have spun if it had gone 2-1, and I think the manager then was trying to put him on, thinking, right, we've gone past that stage, let's put him on. He needed to have that game understanding. It wasn't him being disrespectful. These were decisions that needed to be made by the manager, and this is another one, and I think it's the right call to not involve him this weekend.
Do you see any similarities with this situation and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang at Arsenal? Because that was a two-strike policy, wasn't it? He turned up late for a game and I think was left out the squad. Then he went to France, didn't come back on time, was stripped of the captaincy, and eventually was moved on completely.
Yeah, but that was okay, wasn't it?
Well,
you were okay with that.
It's interesting now. It's mischievous how Alex has tried to combat me, because there were totally different circumstances, really.
I don't think Alex knew that you were wholeheartedly defending Pierre-Emerick.
Well,
I genuinely didn't, actually, but I'm quite pleased if I've managed to launch him with a tackle.
For all of our sort of regular listeners, that we all know that was a situation.
Well, obviously, Alex is not one.
Yeah, I wanted that player, Aubameyang, to stay at the club, because Arsenal were going to be without a striker to the end of the season. We now know that change has been made, and we have a fantastic striker now we wouldn't want to swap. But at the time, I felt we should have kept him. Now, in this instance, this is a little bit different. This is a player that is refusing to actually come onto the field of play, and then decides just to walk off at the end of it, which is it's almost unprecedented.
Hold on. It's exactly the same situation, isn't it? It's adhering to the standards laid down by the manager.
No, I think he's gone too far, Ronaldo.
So what's the difference? What's the difference? Why is it okay?
Aubameyang didn't turn up for training.
He wasn't in the right country.
Aubameyang was late we don't know. Unconfirmed reports suggest that he was late on a couple of occasions.
Well,
I
watched a documentary where the manager said that it was he had a dossier about it.
Don't let me start on that. So we sold a player. We let a player go on a free transfer, and then they got 20 million for him 6 months later. Was that good business all round? No. I think we can all learn from that situation. Yeah?
So Ronaldo, they shouldn't tear up his contract, is what you're saying?
They can do what they please to be right. And if they did it, to be honest, I don't know how big a loss it would be, because I don't know whether there's any real intention to use him. But there will be. He scored 18 goals last season, and he will be moments when he can do something when he comes off the bench. It's just, is he in the right mindset? Is it right for the group? The best decision now for that football club is what's best for the group, not for Ronaldo.
Interestingly, he accused you of being Thomas Tuchel's agent. I'm just going to check on FIFA.com to see who Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's registered agent is.
I genuinely didn't know that I was opening.
No, that was the producer in your ear, probably.
No, it wasn't. It absolutely was not. But as a player, okay, so go back to your playing days. If you're, I know it's a long time ago.
Have you got a dab on?
It's a long time ago.
No, not at all.
But if one of your teammates refused to come off the bench,
he would have.
How would you feel about that?
If he's been
you'd have gone mad.
If he's been a household name in the game,
that gives him a free pass.
No, not a free pass at all. But he's got it wrong. And we all make mistakes. And it's like, well, okay, look, we've won things together with Ronaldo. He's been incredible for me. He's been a player that's changed my life, his life. But now he's getting it wrong. So he's going to have
There's
to
not
suffer.
many people who have won things with Ronaldo.
He's going to have to suffer the consequences. So no one's going to be jumping ship. And he'll be welcomed back in. But it's up to him whether he accepts the punishment or not. That's going to be the interesting thing now.
Well, he hasn't, has he? With that Instagram
we don't
post,
know yet,
he's accepted no responsibility.
Yeah, but let's see what
really.
he's doing. He's training with the 21s. Let's see what happens next week. A week's a long time in football. There may well be a press conference. Look, either two things are going to happen here, aren't they? Either he leaves the football club in January and he doesn't take any further part between now and then, or he goes back into the fold and he accepts he's done wrong.
Yeah, look, we all make mistakes, as you've already mentioned, and one of them certainly wasn't Mikel Arteta getting rid of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, so it seems, because they've done quite well since.
Well, the thing was, he scored 13 goals for Barcelona, and Barcelona made it into the Champions League and Arsenal didn't. So, you're never going to win that argument. Okay, in the long term, if Arsenal go on and win the league this year, then you can come for me. You can come for me. And I think
Pete, the Man United fan, already has on text 81089. Let Martin know he's a hypocrite. That's strong.
Well, there's a shock. There's a United fan, and there's another one opposite me in the studio this morning.
Martin, before we go any further, we should talk about Arsenal and last night's performance.
Be nice, because we normally do it about 5-1. Now that they're top of the table.
They're top of the table, getting into the knockout
Just want to say, by the way, another year,
Yeah.
We go invincible.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that on behalf of everybody that was involved at the football club at the time, because
they don't go on invincible. They mean that there is no other invincible.
Correct. So we just.
So it's you and Preston North End, right?
Well, you going to count them? Are you?
Well, you have to count Preston when you talk about big football clubs, because they were a big football club
in
once.
modern day times. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, it's Premier League years. It's quite an initiative. No one wants to mention it in the media. I've just been brought to my attention. I can see somebody there.
We introduced you as
could
Arsenal
I mention
invincible
that we
Martin Keown?
We are still the Invincibles, and nobody else has done it. That's fantastic.
You are still invincible.
For a small collection of people, it's amazing. For all the football clubs.
Arsenal not quite invincible this season, but very good. And
very good.
Through with time to spare in the Europa League.
10 home wins on the bounce.
Yeah.
And I think it's become a fortress now. That is a unity in the club. We talked about that with Aston Villa. It's definitely there with Arsenal. They've worked on that. Of course, they're giving the fans something to talk about. Xhaka now is becoming a fan's favourite, which we'd have thought was unthinkable but 2 years ago. And I think the way he's getting it right is integration of young players coming in, sort of developing in the Europa League, which is what that's for now, because you don't have to play the Champions League team. And then 6 changes again last night, just enough changes to be able to beat a reasonable PSV team with some really good talent there.
Indeed. You are listening to talkSPORT. Sam Matterface and Alex Crook alongside Martin.
I can see
Keown.
You smiling. That's the producer again. He's in your ear, isn't he, Sam?
Not at all. I'm just enjoying.
Reveal all.
I have literally just enjoyed the last 15 minutes. It's just a great company, both of you.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.